Amelia lived a happy, ordinary life in a small town named Willow Creek. She worked as an editor for a local newspaper, a job she loved because it allowed her to explore the lives and stories of her neighbors. Her life was quiet until Ethan arrived. Ethan was a man of charming mystery. He had come to Willow Creek for a temporary construction project, building a new bridge over the river. He was handsome, tall, and had a smile that made Amelia forget all her worries. He was different from the quiet, predictable men of her town. Their love story was quick and intense. From the first moment they met at the small town cafe, Amelia felt a connection she had never known. Ethan seemed to feel it too. He was attentive, funny, and always full of exciting stories about the many places he had worked. He didn't talk much about his past, only saying he was a free spirit who had finally found a place to land. Amelia didn't press him. When you are deeply in love, sometimes you choose to believe only the beautiful parts of the story. One warm summer night, they stood together on the unfinished bridge, looking up at the wide, starry sky. The air smelled of fresh river water and night-blooming jasmine. It was a perfect, silent moment. Ethan turned to her, his eyes shining. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, velvet box. Inside, resting on white silk, was a simple, silver ring. It was not expensive, but it looked perfect to her. "Amelia," he said, his voice low and serious. "I have traveled everywhere, but this town, and you, Amelia, this is where my home is. I don't want to travel alone anymore. I promise you forever. Marry me?" Amelia's heart soared. It was the easiest question she had ever been asked. "Yes, Ethan, yes, I will marry you," she cried, tears of joy streaming down her face. He put the ring on her finger. It felt heavy, a beautiful weight of commitment. They spent the next few months planning their future. They decided to have a small, outdoor wedding next spring. Ethan started looking at small plots of land in Willow Creek to build their house. Everything felt solid and real. Amelia felt like the luckiest woman in the world. She showed off her ring proudly at the newspaper office and told her mother every single detail. Her mother, however, looked at Ethan with a little doubt in her eyes. "He is very charming, dear," she said, "but he is like the wind. Just make sure he has deep roots." The construction on the bridge was due to finish on a Tuesday. They planned a small celebration dinner for that night. Ethan had spent the previous weekend at Amelia's house, happy and making jokes. They went to sleep planning their dinner menu. On Monday morning, before the sun was fully up, Ethan kissed her goodbye. "Big day today, love. I'll see you tonight. I love you. I love you too," Amelia whispered, falling back to sleep with a smile on her face. That kiss, that ordinary, rushed kiss, was the last time she ever saw him. When Amelia arrived at the newspaper office that morning, the first thing her colleague, Tom, told her was that the bridge construction site was deserted. "They finished early, I guess," Tom said, shrugging. "The big machines are gone. The crew must have packed up and left before dawn." Amelia felt a slight, cold wave of worry. Ethan hadn't mentioned finishing early. But he was probably just busy, she thought. He would call. She waited all morning. She waited through lunch. She tried calling his cell phone. It went straight to voicemail. "The user you are trying to reach is unavailable." She called the number repeatedly. Still unavailable. By the time the sun set, Amelia was no longer worried. She was terrified. The house felt empty and too quiet. The small dinner she had planned was uneaten on the kitchen counter. She called the construction company's main office, which was located in the state capital. She spoke to the project manager. By the time the sun set, Amelia was no longer worried. She was terrified. The house felt empty and too quiet. The small dinner she had planned was uneaten on the kitchen counter. She called the construction company's main office, which was located in the state capital. She spoke to the project manager. Amelia froze. Elias Carter. Not Ethan. She had never heard that name. Her mind tried to make sense of the new name, but a deeper, more sickening thought was taking root. The man she loved, the man who had promised her forever, hadn't even given her his real name. She rushed to the bridge site late that night. It was completely empty. The river flowed silently beneath the finished structure. She stood where he had proposed, feeling the cold reality hit her. Ethan had not disappeared, he had simply left. The next few months were a blur of pain and obsession. Amelia couldn't stop searching. She had to know why. Why the lie? Why the promise? She realized everything he had told her might be untrue. Was he even a construction worker? Was he married? The fear and the unanswered questions felt like a physical weight on her chest. She took time off work. She used her skills as an editor and researcher to dig. The name Elias Carter became her single focus. She went to the capital and found the construction headquarters. They confirmed Elias Carter had worked there, but he had taken an indefinite leave of absence immediately after the Willow Creek job. No forwarding address. Amelia discovered small, scattered clues. He had used a temporary ID to rent his apartment in Willow Creek. The cell phone was a prepaid burner phone, now disconnected. He had erased every trace. She felt a moment of chilling realization. He had planned this exit all along. His promise of forever was a calculated lie. One breakthrough came from a social media site she almost never used. A distant college friend of hers, posting about a charity event in a city 3 states away, mentioned the wonderful work of Elias Carter, the foundation's chief legal advisor. A legal advisor, not a construction worker. Amelia felt her hands shaking, but this time it wasn't fear, it was icy, focused anger. She booked a flight immediately. She didn't call. She wanted the shock to be complete. She found the foundation's office, a huge, glass building in the busy city center. She walked past the receptionist, who tried to stop her, and found the office door marked, Elias Carter, Chief Legal Advisor. She pushed the door open without knocking. Elias Carter, sitting at a massive mahogany desk, looked up. He was wearing an expensive suit. He was the same handsome man, but older, more successful, and completely shocked to see her. Amelia, what are you doing here? He stammered, his face losing all color. Amelia stood tall, the silver ring shining on her left hand, a painful proof of his betrayal. I'm here to find out why you promised me forever, then disappeared, she said, her voice shaking slightly but strong. And why you lied to me about everything. Who are you, Elias? Elias stood up slowly, looking defeated. He led her to a quiet corner of the large office, away from the glass windows. He took a deep breath. My name is Elias Carter, yes. I am a legal advisor. I went to Willow Creek because the company was facing a potential environmental lawsuit over the bridge project, and I had to go undercover to assess the risk, pretending to be a foreman. Undercover? Amelia repeated, the word tasting bitter. Yes, no one, not even the people I worked with, knew my real role. I was gathering information, and then, I met you, he said, his voice dropping. I didn't plan it, Amelia. It was real. Everything I felt for you was real. He explained that his life was complicated. He came from a very wealthy, powerful family in the city, a family that only cared about business and reputation. They had chosen a fiancée for him years ago, a woman from another wealthy family, and the marriage was set for the fall. The construction job was supposed to be a 6-week escape before I had to go back and marry her. I was weak. I couldn't face my family and tell them no. I thought I could have one perfect, secret summer with you, and then end it cleanly, he confessed, looking heartbroken. He confessed that he chose the name Ethan because it was close enough to Elias to respond to, but different enough that people in his real life wouldn't notice if they heard it. He knew it was cowardly, but he was trapped by his family's expectations. Why didn't you just tell me goodbye? Amelia whispered, the tears returning. Because I knew I couldn't. I was afraid that if I said goodbye, I would never leave. It was the only way I could force myself to go back and face my life. I'm a coward, Amelia, but I did love you. I still do. Amelia looked at the successful, tormented man in front of her. The story was complex and painful. He wasn't a criminal, but he was a massive liar, a coward who valued his easy life over her heart. He was silent for a long moment, then offered her a choice. Amelia, I have broken off the engagement. I did it last week. I couldn't go through with it. I will lose everything, my family's money, maybe this job, but I can't live a lie anymore. I want to choose you. Come back with me. We can start over. I will tell you the truth every single day for the rest of our lives. He looked hopeful, but Amelia only felt a strange sense of calm and sadness. She didn't hate him, but she didn't want him either. You chose your life, Ethan. Elias, when you walked away from Willow Creek and didn't call, she said, her voice steady now. The man who promised May forever was a fictional character you created. He doesn't exist. She touched the silver ring on her finger. That man was brave, honest, and ready to face the world. You are none of those things. You are a man who runs from the truth, even when it's painful. She slowly took the ring off her finger and placed it on the beautiful wooden desk. The small, simple ring suddenly looked out of place, lost in luxury. I am going home to Willow Creek, Elias, she concluded. I am going to build a life that is honest, even if it is quiet. I deserve a love story with a man who tells the truth, not a man who lives undercover. She turned and walked out of the office, past the shocked receptionist, and out onto the busy city street. She felt the heavy weight of the secret, the search, and the commitment finally lift from her. She had come seeking an explanation, and she left with her own freedom. Amelia returned to Willow Creek. The pain of the betrayal slowly faded, replaced by the strength she had found during the search. She had faced the powerful truth and walked away. She threw herself back into her work, writing her own column for the newspaper, a column about finding strength in small towns and honest living. She had learned that the most important promise she could keep was the promise she made to herself. One evening, months later, she was walking across the newly finished bridge. She wasn't sad. She was simply appreciating the view. She noticed how solid the structure was. It was a beautiful, honest bridge, unlike the man who built it. She didn't marry that spring, but she found something better. She found her own voice, her own strength, and the knowledge that a promise kept to yourself is worth far more than a promise broken by a liar. She was finally free to write her own, true story. Chamakta Sitara. Moral of the story. True love requires honesty and courage. A promise of forever is meaningless if the person making it is not brave enough to live in the truth. The greatest strength is often found when you walk away from a beautiful lie.